everyone, I am back and I'm starting this vlog really late. It is currently the 7th and I leave here on the 9th, Sunday. I leave Sunday morning really early, so I probably won't post this until maybe the 10th or the 11th or something. So right now, once my aunt's done whatever she's doing, we'll be going into Sydney Swartz to look at some couches, I guess. Not sure if I can take the camera into the store, but hopefully I can, and we can look at some couches. So, see you when I'm in Sydney. We are here. Swartz is somewhere in here. Oh, it's right up here. Oh, I thought it was over here. But anyway, Swartz is right here. So we're going in here for some new to look at some new couches. So hopefully Nan can find one, pick one that she wants. Hopefully so. Yeah. Hopefully anyway, it'll be comfy. But can't speak. Other than that, I'll see you when I get out. Hey guys, we just got a Swartz. Oh, this mask's warm. Fuck, it's warm. So we just got a Swartz here. There's nothing really in there we liked, so we have to head back to Glace Bay and search for one there. So see us.
Here's the store. You can walk in there, mine. The washout. That's my favorite. You can always walk in and walk out. On the other ones that went out under the ocean, you had to go down the shaft 800 feet, and then you went on it. The only way in and out of that line is through that cave. You can't walk in, you can't walk out. Not the third day. So this is the first one you would get in. There'd be 20 men, 20 of those boxes coupled together, and you pull on the electric motor, 6.5 miles out, or the road would be flat. Once you get off that, you had to go down an incline. Now you're going to get into this one. This one here, there's 20 of these coupled together, and the last box will have a steel cable rope, 1.25 inch in diameter attached to it. This is the one that you're going to go down 12,000 feet in. The only fellow who can contact the engineer who's sitting in the hut back there is called a chain runner. He stands up here in the front of the box and he's watching the road all the way down. This rake is full. Have a look here, guys. See how many men this rake can hold? That's a full rake. So that rake, this can be quite heavy as it's going down. The engineer has to stop at 7 different places on the way down to let different personnel off at different places. He has a big indicator in front of him as that rope's coming off the spool. Big needle is moving very slowly. He knows where this is at all times. So as soon as he's coming to a place where he has to stop, very gently, he put the brake on, and this will come to a complete stop. There's no brakes on this. You just got to slow with the rope. And once this person gets off, the chain runner, there's a clothesline, we call it a pull cord, hanging from the roof. You'll pull onto it, and the engineer will hear this sound. That bell rings, one bell is stop. When that person gets off, and this is ready to go, you pull on that cord twice, that bell rings twice. That tells the engineer it's safe to start down. 3 bells, take me back up. So, first fellas get off. It's 5 minutes before the engineer's next stop. So he's got his lunch can open and he's eating. Chain runner sees something on the road ahead. He's got to stop this thing right away. So he pulls on that cord. The engineer's not expecting it. So now he's got to put the emergency brake on. You'll never believe that a steel cable rope, 1.25 inch diameter, one stretch, it will. You will slingshot up and down that deep 200 to 300 feet, and you're screaming your head off. Not because you're enjoying it. You're terrified that rope is going to break. In the town of Sydney Mines, in 1929, 240 men were on this rope, rake box, when the rope broke when it left the surface. 29 miners were killed. 17 were seriously injured. In my 30 years in the coal mine, if I detested anything, it was riding this. It just didn't trust it. Right here. You they didn't know it. That thing, that had brakes onto it. It's called centrifugal force. Once that goes so fast, the brake pads will slowly come down and just touch the rail very slowly, and friction will take over and it'll slow you down. This doesn't. Once you hear that, way you go. Now, when I told you, this light had no electric lights. I told you, it was 10-year-old boys who worked here. I'm gonna show you what he saw the first time he came through that door. I'm not bothered. There's a switch, please.
This one here?
That's what he said. I stayed up there with a 10-year-old boy, and as soon as I turned up the lights, I could feel his heart beating already. We're turning them back on there. We're turning them back on. We're going down with the lights on. But I say, go ahead, buddy. You can cry and scream all you want. It's normal. You want to run out that door. But his grandfather be standing behind with his hand on his back, explaining to him, if you don't go down there, your mother and brothers and sisters are going to be thrown out onto the sidewalk. What would you do? Sheepishly, they say, I go down. They get the argument to say, no, I won't go down. And you could hear his mother in the back screaming, Johnny, you don't want me kicked out on the sidewalk, do you? But they go down. But you imagine how terrifying the experience would be at 10 years old and have that facing you, and all you got is a candle. This is all fact. I'm not making this up. This actually happened. It's horrendous. Okay, let's start now. This one where they sit in and play cards all the way in and out. Garbage is our favorite game. Watch your head, and we'll get more from here on in. Here it is. This is 52. I'll take it to that place when we get to 42. It's coming. And you know, guys, we're entering the cold seam in this here mine. As I said, cold seam always formed on an angle. And you're going to keep chasing it, going after the coal. And that's why coal mines become so deep. And as I said, the further you go down, the heavier the roof's going to get.
I don't have to.
This here, I'll tell you again in a minute. We'll go behind them doors, we'll say that's where the miners are working, but we gave them the day off. But while we're in there, there will be men working down here. To develop the mine to go down even further, we'll have a place ready for the miners after they're finished taking down the coal out of there. Unfortunately, the men that worked down here in the early 1900s worked in water up to their ankles for 10 hours a day. We had pumps that could take the water out of the mine, but that is a dead end. And the water would accumulate there quicker than we could pump it out. Can anybody suggest to me which men will be selected to work in this section of the mine? Nobody?
Children?
Sure. Swing?
How about the men who owe the coal company the most money?
Okay.
If you had a large family, don't look for an easy job in the coal mine, you weren't going to get it. And if you didn't work, you were kicked off the property. And the coal mines owned all the other coal mines, so you couldn't go from one coal mine to another carrying your debt. Either you worked or you and your family had to go off the Cape Breton and find a job somewhere else. These people who ran these coal mines, they knew exactly what they were doing. The almighty dollar was the only thing that meant anything to them. Nothing else mattered. Now, if anything should happen to me, and I don't anticipate it, okay? We have 3 of these running through the mine. These are speakers that goes up to the desk. I'm going to show you how it works. You just lift this button and you push it up. Hello, the desk.
Front desk here.
Anybody else?
Nope, you're all good to go in.
You do that in case there's a late comer, because once we start in there, they don't come back. I mean, I don't come back for anybody. So, okay, come on in here, guys.
What?
When you're back there, we'll have to drop them off.
No, I'm not only big people.
Keep moving up, keep moving up. Okay, we all got your masks on. Okay, don't go too close to the wall there. There's mud there. Okay. This is what we're got in there. So try to stay on the treadmill. We're coming down with some gravel after. We're going to fix this all up. Okay, you just stand on this side over here for a second, please. I want to show you something on this side here. That's good. I'm going to put my light on this wall. You can see this is the coal seam in this mine. This coal seam starts here at the roof and then ends here down here. This coal seam is 52 inches high. The height of your coal seam dictates the height of your coal mine. In Cape Breton, we got 11 different coal seams. For every 400 feet you go down, you would encounter another coal seam. Our smallest coal seam is 36 inches high, and our biggest one is 11 feet. If this coal seam was 11 feet high, this roof would be 11 feet high. 8 feet, 8 feet. The miners only got paid for taking the coal. They don't get paid for taking the stone up here or the stone down here, just to make it easy to walk. Now, coal is formed from rotted vegetation, dead trees, swamp gas, peat, and moss over many millions of years under extreme hot, humid conditions. The only fossil you will find in the Cape Breton coal field is a little plant called a fern. We have it in the museum. We know that the vegetation that this fern comes from is only found on the west coast of Africa. What I'm telling you is, this coal you're looking at here was absolutely not formed here in Cape Breton. This coal was formed in West Africa 170 million years ago. There's a time in history called Pangea, when all the continents were together. And when the continents split up and North America parted from Europe, we came across the ocean and this coal came with us. You cannot make that story up. This is all fact finding. It's all described. If you take it to the museum, it'll take you right back in time to show you how this got here. I said, extremely hot, humid conditions. We got 4 seasons, but we know the coal was not formed here. That's the question. Again, you ask me, sir, is this wood? Yes. I'm going to take you into a section and I'm going to show you the actual conditions the miners worked in. You won't see this, you won't see this, and you won't see this. This is all here for your protection. So when we get to this place, I'll show you. Do you have a camera with you?
Yeah.
Okay, you don't have a camera? Not a cell phone?
Oh, I have
A cell phone?
Excuse me.
Sorry?
A cell phone?
What?
Excuse me.
I have one of these.
Yeah. Is it got a flash on it?
But is it gonna flash?
Does it have a flash?
I don't know. No.
Okay, we'll try it anyway. Whose cell phone rang?
Mine did.
What kind of server you got, buddy?
The good one, apparently, it's ringing down here. No, it was my alarm. I had an alarm on it.
What's okay? What's okay?
You checking for a flash?
No, they know how to take pictures, I know.
Yeah, but the place we're going is going to be dark, that's why you need a flash.
Oh, well, we don't.
Let her have it and give it to Sophie.
What's that?
Okay.
You know how to do?
When I told you about the 10-year-old boy, this is where he would work at. Again, remember, there was no electric lights. He'd sit there on the bench in the dark all by himself. The only friends he had were rats. Anybody afraid of rats?
Yes.
Okay, we are don't look down now there.
Oh, don't look down, yeah, sorry.
Rats, yeah, sorry, I swear to God. Except for that little fella there.
You know, he's fake.
Oh.
He's fake.
I worked in mines where rats were absolutely huge. Why? Because rats don't have predators in the coal mine. The last thing a miner did was kill a rat unless he had to. Because rats kept the mines exceptionally clean. Anytime you had that last piece of food that was dirty, it didn't want to eat it, it threw it onto the ground. This problem is, the rats would fight over it, and the squealing and the noise they made was irritated the miners. But in my 30 years, I never heard anyone being bitten or attacked by a rat. That young boy will sit there, in the dark, and the only sound, he listened to this sound. When he heard that sound, he'd jump up and he'd open his door as wide as he can. On the other side of the door is another young boy with a pony and a box of coal. That box of coal has to go to the surface so the miner gets paid. Once that boy and box of coal is out, he must close his door immediately. I said ventilation is very important. Fresh air is going down the deep we walk down, dirty air is going up the back deep. If he leaves this door open, the fresh air that's going to the miners working down there below is going to take a shortcut, and it's going to come rushing in here, allowing methane gas to build up for those men working back below, and they could die in an explosion. So the shop is very menial, 50 cents a day. You spend 10 hours down here. You get up at 7 o'clock in the morning, and you go home 7 o'clock at night. That's an awful way. And they'd be here, and then he'd be here for 2 years, and then he would change places with the boy on the pony, and the boy on the pony was up with the big boys. Someone else's father was killed, or whatever it is, and then another 10-year-old boy takes his place.
It's a life sentence.
That was the cycle. A lot of them died from pneumonia, bronchitis, just dampness, you can understand. They never had a good life. If you look here, I'll show you a picture. You see the horse?
Yeah.
There's the box of coal. There's the 2 young boys hiding up here. There's no room for them. No lights. Just up there, headed away. If you go to Google when you go home, type in Tracker Boy and you'll see what I'm talking about. Any questions?
No.
Very quiet, folks. Very quiet. On in here.
Okay. You gotta watch the ceiling. Go close?
There's a pebble pot over there.
Oh,
Do you want to close?
Yeah. As I tell you, out mining inland is called room and pillar, because we never had the technology to go under the ocean where we could hold a roof. That came later on when we started making steel arches. It's very easy to explain. I showed you that block of coal on the other side of the door. This is the same block of coal. Use your imagination. You don't see, say you can't see none of these here. All you're doing is looking at a block of coal. You take out a piece of chalk, you start here, and you mark off 20 feet. You come back, you go in there 20 feet, removing that coal. Once you remove all that coal, what you got left is a big empty void. That void is now called a room. You take out your chalk, you mark out 40 feet. You do not touch that coal. That coal is called a pillar. You cannot take all of the coal out of a coal mine, you need something to support the roof. So you cut a room and leave a pillar. You cut a room and leave a pillar. Very safe, effective way of mining until you start cheating. And I mean by cheating is, the more coal you got, the more money you got. If you got a large family, you're gonna take chances. You start stealing the pillar's coal. The pillar is the easiest coal to take. Instead of 40 feet, your next one is 35. Then you're down to 30. Eventually you're down to 25 and you begin to wonder, why is the roof falling in on us and killing us? Because you were stealing the pillar's coal. Minor's risk, life and limb, provide for those families back in those days, guys. Now, one of the most famous questions I get when I'm asked down here, I don't like talking about it, but I know it's on people's minds, so let's clear the air. Where does a miner go when a miner has to go underground? It's not bad, not bad. But please don't tell me what a 16-year-old girl told me last year, because I'm still traumatized. She said, I was told that you use your hats. No. You might get my buddies, but you're not getting mine. And no one's gonna call me a shithead, okay? If you look down there, how the coal has been removed, there's no need of a miner going down there unless he goes down there with his shovel and does his personal business, and that's the end of the story. We had to be as respectful as we could, guys. I never known anybody to stand up and someone drop a pencil to number 2 and get to talk about it. Nope, don't do that. Any questions?
Nope.
Walk in the middle of the room, come on up here.
So normally these pillars, these wooden pillars would not
Oh,
be
yeah,
here.
Pardon?
These wooden pillars along the wall would not be here. No.
No,
No.
no, I'm gonna show you up here. These are, well, what we use is timbers. What they use here is railroad ties. But when they developed this mine as a museum, it's here for your protection.
Yeah.
Well, I'll show you up here what the mine is really look like.
No, that's the problem.
I heard that.
Yeah, so we wear the helmets.
Okay, this one I want to take you up. I looked in here. Other than methane gas, a fire, and black lung, the next worst thing can happen to you in a coal mine is to lose your light. I'm going to walk up there and I'm going to turn on my light. You tell me as soon as you can't see me anymore.
Can't see you.
Can't see ya.
You sure?
I can.
I'm standing right here.
Yeah, I can see it. Yeah, I
You
saw
saw
him.
him?
I saw him.
Okay.
So I can. Yeah, I can still see him.
I can still see you.
So you know when you lose your light, you got a problem. So you come out, you hang out to the side here, you don't move until somebody else comes along with the light. You cannot travel the mine in the darkness, you just can't do it. Of course, at the time, there'd be railroad tracks going through the mine here, so the boxes need to be pulled, so 1 foot on and 1 foot off. But it's not a comfortable feeling. Okay, I'm gonna take the family forward. Come on up here with me, watch your heads coming in here. Watch your heads. Right up.
I don't know what that is, I can't see.
Right up in here. Up in here. Right up there to the base. When you look up here, you'll see this is the actual condition produced at the mine from a fellow stone. Covered in like it is up there. These are spruce trees, timbers that were cut down in the woods behind our homes, not those big railroad ties you see. When you sit down, you sit down, that's how you eat, you sat down in the hole.
Yeah.
You sat down on the
And then,
mud.
when you went up, you went into the wash house and you took your clothes off. A lot of miners back in these days wore their clothes home. Yeah, and miners, the modern miners, we left their clothes at the wash house. We'd come up, strip off, put them on a hook, put them up in the air, go get a shower, get back, put our clean clothes on, which we changed before we went in, and we went home with them. But we used to take our pick clothes home to wash them once and twice a week, twice a month. And your wife would scream when she seen you coming in the door with the pick clothes. You're not putting them into my washer. Well, guess who paid for the washer here? That's where they're going. Yeah. You can only let them so long, they start getting smelled and stinky. Okay, when I knock on the door, my stick before this one's waiting on the other side. This is the phone, this is the box of phone. As you can see, well, he's the right size for this type of mining. These are called Shetland ponies, and they originally come from Sable Island. Sable Island is 300 miles south of Halifax. In the early 1900s, it was known as the graveyard of the North Atlantic, and a lot of no lighthouses on it, and a lot of ships coming from Europe to the United States washed ashore, put livestock onto them, and most of the horses, they swam ashore, and that's why just where the horses on Sable Island came from shipwrecks. If you were caught abusing this horse, you were fired immediately. I can't understand a 12 or 14-year-old boy abusing a horse. You would think they become the best of friends. Unfortunately, once these horses come into the mine, few, if any, ever saw daylight again. Life expectancy was 15 to 18 years. When their shift was over, they would be taken to an underground stable, where a stableman would clean them, feed them, and groom them. They were not abused. The coal company had more respect for the horse than it did for the miners. That is the true fact. When we got the technology to go under the ocean where the coal seams were much higher, we started taking much larger horses with us. If you walked through the museum, you would have seen a picture of a huge white horse. His name is Fraser. The only horse that was ever retired after 20 years in a coal mine. Fraser didn't get a pension, but he got a pasture. He was happy with that. In the late 1940s, when the mines were shut down for 3 weeks to give the miners a vacation, we started taking the horses up with us for the first time. The first horse we took him up in the daytime, didn't realize it, and he went blind. After that, we started taking them up at night and releasing them in the fields and let the rise adjust to the daylight, and they got along just fine. Now, when we were kids, we knew exactly when the horses were coming and going. We'd be down in Salem's field. There would be 80 to 90 of them. We would save our apples, carrots, bread, hay, and go down and feed them by hand every day. They were absolutely tame, and they certainly enjoyed the attention. You gotta understand, the last thing you would want in a coal mine is a wild horse. So they were broken before they get into the mine. When it was time to put them back into the mines, we had to put blindfolds on them, get them in the cage. But we knew we would see them again next year. Now,
Would they act out after having been out?
pardon?
Would they go back to work willingly after having been out for
Well,
so
once you
long?
got them back into the mine,
Yeah.
yeah, there was really nowhere else to go. These were the backbone of mining right up until the 1950s, and that's when we got the electric motors and diesels, and that was the end. But yeah, these are intelligent, smart horses. This fellow here would have a spring on the top of his head. He'd have a collar with a spring onto it, and as he's walking along, if the spring hits the roof, the spring is going to bend. So he knows when to bend his head.
Okay.
That young boy here, when he get to the bottom, he's supposed to pull that pin and everything, but the horse will take the pin out himself for it. I'm telling you. If you got lost, they're dark in the coal mine, you lost your light, he'll take you. Oh
Okay.
yeah, well respected.
So he didn't need a light? He didn't need a light?
No.
He was-
You know, most animals can see in the dark to some extent, you know. Okay, follow me up here, please. Watch your head now. I got it.
Oh, yeah, that is all.
Now this one here is Eagle Road. I thought that's a little maker because it's on. Careful. This will be the last stop before we get to the garden, okay? Now, every morning, one of us gotta come down to inspect the mine to make sure it's safe. We gotta travel the whole mine. This was just put here this week. This is a resemblance of showing two fellows drilling, that's what it was. But I came around the corner and saw that, I didn't know what I was looking at. I thought I was being visited from the past with some of my friends. It startled me, because I didn't know it was there. But anyway, the men that worked in this section of the mine made more money than most other miners, because they got the use of a radial cutting machine. It's a two-man operation. This machine is operated by compressed air, but it's not working, and I'm glad, because if I was to start this up, I was scared to be Jesus right at you. I swear to God, it is loud. What he wants to do, he wants to undercut that large block of coal hanging up in the air. Question 2, if we're real out under the ocean, you would not see none of this. This is called copper water. It's oxidization with minerals mixing with the coal. Out under the ocean, it's all black, shiny coal. Shinier than any coal you'll ever see along here. But this machine is 60-some years old, so this accumulates after a while. He would have 3 steel picks protruding from the head of this machine. And when he starts this up, that piston up front just goes in and out, back and forth, and back and forth, and back and forth, till he gets in there across 5 feet, across 5 feet deep. And while he's doing that, he is removing coal. And I said, once you remove coal, you're going to start methane is going to seep into the atmosphere. So while he's cutting coal, his other buddy's going to be standing beside him with a little bird, which would be in the cage, called the canary. The canary's lungs are very sensitive to methane gas, and they were known as the miner's best friend. You want to find gas in a coal mine, you go to the ceiling because it's lighter than there. While his buddy's cutting coal, his other buddy's got the bird up and he's watching him. If the bird is calm, everything is fine. If the bird is dancing about in the cage, that's an indication that methane gas is present. He taps his buddy on his shoulder and says, stop, we have gas. He would put up a plastic curtain and force the air coming up, instead of going out there, to come in here, to sweep the gas out and take it up to level. 20 minutes later, he put the bird back up. If the bird calmed down, he would say, continue mining. If you put the canary up, and the canary fell over, it fell out, it went dead. Now like the horse, the canary got to go home with the miner every day. This is the only thing that the miners got free from the coal company, because the managers didn't want their coal mines to blow up. And the miners gladly took them, because the miners had so much faith in these furs for detecting many gas that, yeah, it was a win-win situation once for the miners.
So were these used even in your time, like with more
No.
technology? No. This
No,
is the old times.
Now what we got is like a cell phone. You take it, you hold it up to the ceiling, you push a button.
Oh, okay.
It's a sniffer, eh? Takes an instant reading, which more accurate than this fella.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's modern technology. Oh yeah, we've come a long way there. Now, once he's finished with that, we're gonna take that down and put it in a safe place. Now we're gonna pick up another drill, just a little shorter than this one here. And I'm going to air operated. This one I'm gonna hold against my shoulder. And I'm gonna drill 5 holes up there, 18 inches apart, in a depth of 5 feet. Once I do that, I'm going to put powder and caps in there, which is equivalent to dynamite. It's the same thing. I'm going to wire them all together. And I'm going to attach them to a cable, will be laying on the floor, 200 feet long, where I'm going to stretch it out to that room where I took this, where I'm going to be safe. I'm going to touch 2 wires to a battery. There's going to be one hell of a big bang in here. This large block of coal behind me is going to come flying out here onto the ground, creating one huge pile. 15 to 20 minutes later, after the dust and smoke has settled, the miners will return. The very first thing they must do when they come back in here is put up new roof supports to support the roof where the coal used to be. You cannot, should not ever go under any roof that is not supported, it will fall on you and kill you at any time. Once that is done, they'll call for the boys to bring up the ponies and the boxes, and the miners will start using these shovels here to load the coal into the boxes. The coal company didn't want the regular 2,000-ton box, they wanted the long ton, 2,200 pounds. The miners got paid 85 cents a ton of coal.
Wow.
You might get 3 to 4 tons of coal out of a blast like this. It takes a lot of coal to get your bill down at the company store. Once the coal is loaded and sent down its way, they set the drill up and they do it over and over again. That's if things are going right. That is if your drill is working, that is if you got enough MPs out there waiting to come in. There's all kinds of things can happen in the mine that can slow you down and stop you from getting any coal whatsoever. Sometimes you gotta come in here and work 3 to 4 hours before you even get 1 pound of coal. There's all kinds of things that happen in the mine, but if you got a good day going, you can get 6 to 8 tons of coal, which is a good day. Once the coal is loaded and sent down this way, every miner has an identification tag. It's a number, it was on the back of the box. so that when it gets to the surface, the manager knows who gets paid. You make sure that's tied on tight, because a lot of times the manager said this coal, it did not come to the surface. They stole the miner's coal. It was quite common. So what the miners did, I turned out the lights before we come down. Left one miner behind at the start of every shift with a pencil and paper. He recorded every box of coal that came out of the mine. He was called a checker. And even though the miners had to pay those checkers out of their own pockets, at least they got credit for the coal that they produced. Also, my coal could be sitting out there. Other miners are working in the mine today, they got families, but as I said, they're not having a good day. And can't get any coal. My coal could be sitting out there in the dark for 2 hours. Somebody could sneak out there in the dark, take my tag off, throw it away, and put their tag on it. He stole my coal. And when we find out who did that, and we normally do, that man is blackballed. Nobody will work with him anymore. And then he's kicked off the property. So if you're going to steal someone's coal, you better know what the consequences are going to be. Plus the beating you probably get at the local burial. But like I said, he has a family too, and you take chances. The coal company loved pitting the men against one another. They didn't want any harmony. They didn't want always confusion between them. Any questions? That sort. Okay. What we're going to do, as soon as I find my stick. Yeah. We're going to walk straight through them doors, and on the other side of the door there's a garden there. We stop there for 5 minutes. But this is where the roof is going to come down to 42 inches. It's only for 20 feet. Once you get past that, we're good. 42 inches. There's a puddle in front of this door, so be careful, please. What? I didn't hear here.
Oh, puddle under the door. I think that's what.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Are these real flowers? No.
No. Well, they were. They were. But due to the weather this year, it's crazy and never had much luck with them. We had a German immigrant in 1929, his name was William Cook. And he asked the man who won the economy if he could put a garden underground. Well, the manager mocked him, smirked at him, and laughed at him, and said, yes. That's
Put it again.
at their own time and at their own
What the flowers that light?
diesel.
Sorry?
Diesel motors, they had lights on them, right? We just found a picture of that garden last week in the archives, and we're trying to get it updated, make it look, it's how it was taken. It doesn't look so. It looks like the flowers are growing up against the side of the wall. To tell you the truth, it was in the pumpkins that he had his garden home. Now, up until 1999 was the last year I worked in a coal mine. It was illegal to enter the mine without this here, strapped to the side of your belt like this. This is called a self-resuscitator. If you smell smoke, you flip that lid up, and then under that lid is a nose guard and a milk piece. You insert both immediately. In the bottom of the can is charcoal. Charcoal turns carbon monoxide into carbon dioxide. This will give you 30 minutes to find fresh air if you don't can it. If you can it, the more you're going to breathe, the quicker you're going to breathe, and the more you delete the charcoal in the bottom. And the gas will get that hot and you'll spit it out and fall down in the moon. So it's hard not to panic in a coal mine. I've been in coal mines where we had to be evacuated, and I've seen men cry. They thought they were going to die. But you'd always get some men that are good leaders, and they'll assure these men you're going to be fine. Just take your time and you'll get you. It happens. Some people take handle, some people can't. You take, I'm a firefighter for 42 years. I'm still an active firefighter. I don't go into burning buildings anymore. I just try. Watch the water, everybody.
Okay.
You can see last year, this roof fell on us. It broke away. That's why we had to get these packs up here to hold the roof. Oh yeah, it happens in coal mining. After a while, it just, the weight pushes down onto them. She lets go. This sound that you hear here is fresh air being pumped into the lung. That's our fan. Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm alright.
Spend enough time, buddy. This is the last foot, I'll be careful.
Yep. You start standing up again.
You wouldn't do that again, would you?
No, I won't. Okay, well, okay. Yeah, you can make fun of me.
Now, when we go through the doors up there, please put your hands over on the rack on the right hand side. And if there's a guide giving an orientation to another group, very quietly, if we could just walk by. I got a card up there, my picture and email address on it, take one as a souvenir, and you can walk right up the ramp. And if you didn't get through the exhibits, you can go back in through the exhibits that way. You just follow the arrows on the road, okay? Okay, guys, once again, my name is Eric Spencer. Thank you for coming on the tour.
Thank you so
Eric.
much.
Thank you.
Well done.
So it has,
That's got six this part. See the picks?
yeah,
And as he's cutting coal, it's tipping dust up into the air. And
he's cutting both sides at the same time.
yeah, most, it's coming out the wall. The stories of the miners, their families, and all the people who supported them will live on as long as the museum exists. And these are the roof supports that they use at the time to for each one of them is capable of holding 400 tons. And we will have 60 meters of diameter wall. So we never had any
Hi, my name is Lincoln McLeod, and I'm with 900 or so miners who work at the Salem mine. Today we'll take us on Golden College. You look at General Freeze program right there now. Ventilation is called for air to breathe when people working, but besides that, that's to dissipate the gas in the mine. Because the more coal you cut, the more gas you release from the coal. So you have to have enough fresh air.
This is the end of the Miners Museum vlog. So, yeah, I'll probably maybe record again when I go out west. But yeah, I am sweating. I need a shower. And yeah, this is your boy Elder signing off.